I was looking online on YouTube, scrolling down my algorithm, and I couldn't help but to notice all the stuff that's going on with Bishop T.D. Jakes. I went to my family's house yesterday. They was talking to me about it, but at that time, I really didn't know anything about it. They was asking me, what do I think about Bishop Jakes? I didn't know anything. I had heard a couple of things about it yesterday, but I seen a lot about it. It's blowing up online today, so I looked into it, and I heard a lot of the allegations that was being made against Bishop or whatever. But since all this stuff is coming to the light, I just figured I'd give like a brief little testimony about how I feel about Bishop T.D. Jakes. I listened to Bishop, growing up as a child. I'm 31 years old now. I've listened to him my whole life, all the way up until about 2019. And for those of you who don't know, in 2019, my life changed, because that's when I actually met Christ. That's when my eyes were actually opened in 2019. Of course, I grew up in the church. I went to church, my whole life. I was baptized when I was younger, but I didn't actually have a relationship with God. I didn't know who he was. I was just like the rest of the other Christians. I went to church on Sunday, and then I did whatever I wanted to the rest of the days of the week. And I just swore that I was saved, And Bishop T.D. Jakes is one of the people that I was following. He was one of the people that I really admired. I thought this man was like so special. I really looked up to him. I just thought he was like a true man of God. I used to think he was like some kind of prophet or something. I seen him traveling overseas, preaching in different churches and stuff like that. His voice was just so powerful and stuff like that. And he's a very knowledgeable man. And in 2019, after I met Christ, my eyes were opened, to the evils of the world. Ever since then, I've seen things a lot differently than I did before then. Now I'm led by the Spirit of God. I see things through the Spirit. So whenever you walk with Christ and he opens your eyes, you see things differently. You start walking differently. You become set apart. You don't do things that everyone else does. He opens your eyes and you're able to see all the evils of the world. And since Bishop Jakes was one of the first people, he was one of the people that I admired the most. So when my eyes were open, he was the first person that I was angry with, because that is the first person that God showed me was somebody that I should not be following. Him along with the rest of the churches. I was what you would call church hurt. After my eyes was open, I was church hurt because I found out about all the lies inside the church. But I was directly mad at Bishop Jakes because he was somebody I had put my all into. I was even paying tithes online at his church and stuff like that. I was a truck driver, so I wasn't able to attend church. I was driving over the road. I was paying tithes at his church online. And when I used to watch his ministries and stuff online, I felt like I was special. I felt important. I felt like I was somebody, but now that I live through the Spirit, I realized that none of that was from God. That feeling that I had then was different from the feeling that I have now that I live through the Spirit. None of it was of God. What I learned from Bishop T. Jakes was a lot about being a businessman, being somebody special in this world. And now that my eyes are open, I know that's not exactly what God wants for us. So he was one of the first people that I was angry with. And with that being said, I was still following him on all my social medias. I was following him on Facebook, on Instagram. And I believe it was like in November 2019, I seen that he had wore this outfit. It drew a lot of attention. And I'm just kind of thinking to myself, hey, bishops, this is just one of the things that I noticed when my eyes were open. And I'm like, that outfit kind of stand out a lot. I don't know, we should be wearing stuff like that, but oh well, and I moved on. But before I moved on, I looked at the comments because I wanted to see what everybody else thought about that outfit. And I looked in the comments, everybody was praising him, like, I like that outfit, Bishop. And some people was calling him out, like, I don't think you should be wearing that kind of stuff. And this one dude specifically whose comment I read, he said, Bishop, I don't know about that outfit. That's what he said, word for word. He was like, I don't know about that outfit. You know, he wasn't being hateful. He wasn't like, he was just joking around. You know, he didn't mean any harm. He was just telling Bishop Jakes that, you know, I don't know about that outfit. In his comment, Bishop Jakes replied back and just like completely went off. You know, like he completely went left on the dude. And I'm looking, I'm like, that's not right. You know, that he shouldn't be talking to people like that, let alone somebody in the comments, one of his followers, somebody that probably paid tithes to his church online. And I just was thinking to myself, this man didn't say nothing for Bishop Jakes to go off on him like that. I can only imagine what Bishop would have done if somebody actually said something worse to him. You know, I can only imagine what he would have done if somebody said something like that to him in person, if he reacted that way online. You know, so I wrote him in the comments and I told him, you know, you shouldn't be talking to people like that. And you know, he proceeded to say, you know, I'm not your enemy. You know, there's a lot of evil going on in the world, and I'm not, you know, I'm not somebody that he was telling me that he's not somebody that I should be worried about because there's bigger evil out there in the world. You know, he was basically, you know, deflecting the attention from himself and saying that there's other things out there that we should be worried about, like rapists and murderers and not people like him. And I thought that was a pretty, you know, deceitful reaction, you know, a deceitful reply to try to deflect the evil off of you and say that there's rapists and murderers out here. I mean, I thought that was a pretty weak argument, you know, so I told him, Bishop, there is no difference between the evils. Evil is evil. You know, there is no such thing as we should be worried about this evil because this evil is less. That's not how we should look at things, Bishop. And you know, I respect you. And this is in the comments, you know, we wasn't talking in person. You know, and I was like, I just don't think that you as a leader should be talking to people like that. Because, and keep in mind, I'm still upset with him because my eyes had just been opened. You know, I'm walking through the spirit now. I can't believe that he was doing the things that he was doing. And I had been following him all these years, but I just realized it when I met Christ. And he was like, you know, he proceeded to block me after that. You know, and after that, I was just, I was kind of surprised, but at the same time, I wasn't. You know, I was like, dang, he blocked me. And that kind of revealed to me who he really was. And, you know, ever since then, for years, I've been trying to tell people not specifically about that. I never spoke on that ever because it doesn't matter. But what I did speak on was I tried to tell people about who Bishop was, man. When I listen to his sermons and stuff now, or if I look at him, I see something differently than I did before Christ opened my eyes. You know, that man, you know, he doesn't speak through the Spirit of God, man. He's been leading people astray for years. He preaches a foreign doctrine, you know, something that's leading people far away from edification, far away from the kingdom of heaven. And people have been trying to warn people about this man for years. And the reason that I'm making this video is because I believe what's going on right now with Bishop Jakes is something that we should learn from. We should all learn from this situation instead of gossiping about it. Of course, we should pray for him, of course, you know, but we should also learn that God is not playing with us. Yahuah, the Father, is not playing with us. Everything that is done in the light, in the dark, will come out to the light. So what's going on with Bishop makes me fear God more because I need to get myself together. You know, I need to make sure that I'm not playing around. I want to walk in the light. I don't want to have no secrets or nothing like that. I want to be able to walk in the light and keep my garments white, you know, so that I may be able to be ready for Christ and not stand in shame whenever he comes. And I want this for all of us, you know. So this is something that we should learn from, you know, and you know, build yourself up from this. Well, let this be something that's edifying to the church. You know, let God receive glory from this. You know, let's come to the light with our deeds. You know, let's walk in the light. You know, let's be the same person who we are in the darkness, in the light. You know, secrets and stuff, anything that's done in the darkness, that's not of the light. That's not the Spirit of God. And that's not who we are, you know. This isn't just for Bishop Jakes. This is for all the false teachers. You know, this isn't just for Bishop. You know, this is for all these false teachers out here. I'm not going to say no names, but, you know, we've been calling these false teachers out for years, you know, and the time is now. You know what I'm saying? The time is now. We need to get ourselves together, and everything that we do in the dark will come to the light. And I just wanted to go ahead and read this verse. It's Psalms 37, and it's one thing that I've always struggled with. You know, I always ask God, you know, why do you let these false teachers prosper so much? You know, that's why people follow them, because they're prosperous, you know, and it's hard to see them as a false teacher when they're so successful, because us as humans, we look at things through the flesh. We look at the money that people have, the success that they have, you know. And one of the verses that comes to mind when I think about that is in Psalms 37. It says, do not fret or do not worry because of evildoers. Do not be envious of the workers of unrighteousness, for they soon wither like grass and fade like green plants. So with that being said, nobody is going to escape the wrath of God, especially if he has given you a long time to repent. So I think this is just the beginning of what's about to go on with Bishop Jakes. I think this is just the beginning. So if you see this video, anything you see from now on, look at it from a perspective that could build you up, something that's edifying. We need to get ourselves together. Let's make sure that we're walking in the light. Let's make sure that you know, we don't have any secrets or anything. We're ready. Let's be the true bride, you know, the true bride for the Messiah, and be ready for him, you know, because anything that's done in the dark will come to light. So